Hello everybody, it's Wendy, and today we're going to make a necklace using products from the Bargain Bead Box January 2023 edition, which was called Midnight Skies. First of all, our encouraging word for today is happy mind, happy life. And I have found that to be true. I can testify on that one myself. Okay, so Bargain Bead Box. It's a monthly beading subscription service. When you subscribe, you get a box full of wonderfulness delivered to your door for $19.49 a month. You also get a 30% off coupon to use in their sister site, Bead Box Bargains. And that sister site, it has great prices, and when you use the 30% off coupon, I mean, you can use it as many times as you want during the month, over and over and over. You get it every month, so it's like a continual 30% off discount in their store. That's when you're a subscriber to the box. If you don't want to subscribe to the box, you just want to shop in their store, you can do that as well. And I have a $2 off coupon code. It is Wendy2. That will get you $2 off either your first month subscription box or your first purchase in their store, but you can only use it for one or the other. Okay, so Bargain Bead Box, it's awesome. I do have a whole playlist of unboxings if you want to watch those to see what comes in these boxes, and I'd make a bunch of jewelry every month out of it. So this month, we did this beautiful blue theme called Midnight Skies. I like this month's box a lot. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of is this antique silver metal. I think it looks dirty. It looks tarnished to me. I'm not a big fan of antique silver, but, you know, we're going to use this anyway. It's still going to be pretty, but that's my only complaint this month. And it's not really a complaint. It's just a preference, but, yeah. So anyway, if you want to make this necklace, here's what you're going to need. You're going to need two 2x2 crimp tubes and 2 wire guardians. You're going to need two size 2 crimp beads. Now these are in bright silver. These I'm using a gunmetal, so it kind of blends in more because it's going to be down toward the pendant. You're going to need the pendant. You're going to need the labradorite chips. And these are not all of them. I used a bunch of them in a bracelet, so this is all I have left. These are some little spacers I pulled from my own stash. I just like them because they have kind of an iridescent quality to them. And I feel like they pick up these colors really pretty and add an element of sparkle. You can use any spacers that you have. These are the bead caps from the box. These are the drusies from the box. This is the toggle from the box. These are the English cut crystals from the box, the clear rondelles from the box, and the tiny faceted labradorite beads from the box. I've also got a couple bead bugs out here. These are just to hold my strands in place. They're kind of not necessary for this, but very helpful. And then I have some 7-strand bead stringing wire in about 23.5 inches on this piece and about 6 inches on this piece. And you'll see why here in just a minute. And then I have my tools. I've got my Xuron needle nose pliers, Xuron crimpers, Beadsmith round nose pliers, and not sure of the brand, CHP quality hand tools, cutters. Okay, so that's what I use. All right, guys, let's get started. So first of all, we are going to take this strand, this longer strand. We're going to match up our ends, okay, and kind of find the middle. And then this smaller strand, so I'm going to hold this about right here. I'm going to take it and just eyeballing it, I'm going to place the middle of it right in the middle of the bigger strand. And then I'm going to bead bug one side of this, just so it stays in place. That's all I'm doing, is trying to keep it just in place so I can bead this one side. But I'm going to put that on there really tightly. And here's what you've got. Now, let me move this stuff out of the way. Some of it. We're going to be using those in a minute. We're going to use the spacers and the labradorite chips right away. Okay. Toggle out of the way. All right, here we go. So we're going to take our pendant piece and we're going to put it on first. And I'm just hanging it right on here. Just like this. Okay. Just like that. Now, I'm going to take a labradorite chip and I'm going to go through one strand on the bottom. Actually, I'm going to do the spacers first. I'm going to do 2 spacers on the bottom strand. Oops. And 2 spacers on the top strand. And they are going to kind of float through the bail. But that's okay. And here comes a loud car playing their music. I don't know why people think that they got to play their music at 1,000 decibels and nobody wants to hear it but them. All right. But we have a street full of people that like to do that. It's annoying. All right, so now I'm going to add on a couple of chips on the top strand and a chip on the bottom strand. I'm just going to put one on the bottom, two on the top. And then I'm going to add a spacer on the bottom and a spacer on the top. Okay, so I'm just beating this to where it's kind of like, it's going to look bunched up and clumpy when I'm done. That's what I want it to do. But the one thing that I did find that you have to be really careful of is you have to make sure that there's enough room for your bail to hang down. So it's got to have, that's why I'm putting those spacers there, because I want the bail to have enough room to hang down, but I don't want the wire to show, okay? So I'm going to add one more spacer on the top here and a couple of chips, or just one chip. No, I'm going to add 2 chips. Yeah. And then I'm going to add a couple of chips on the bottom. Like that. A spacer bead on the bottom. And a spacer bead on the top. Now I have to be sure to save enough chips for the other side still. I still have a bunch though. I think I'm okay. So I'm going to do one on the top. And maybe 2 on the bottom. Now I'm going to run out of chips. So I'm going to do 2 spacers on the top up here. Just like that. And 1 on the bottom, because I'm just trying to keep these even. Okay. Like that. Now, that should be enough to do my other side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this crimp bead. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to bead bug this really firmly on this side, just like I did on the other side. Where'd my bead bugs go? So let's bead bug this really good. You want to make sure they're going to stay in there. Okay. And now we're going to take this one off and we're going to bead this side. Off of there. Okay. Now, what I have to make sure of, okay, is that this bail has enough room to hang. So I'm going to put a few more spacers on here because I want it, they'll float through it and then the wire won't show. So I'm going to add like 3 spacers on the bottom. Okay, just like this. And see what they're going to do is they're going to float through the bail. Well, hopefully. I may have to make them float through there. I don't need 3 if they're not going to go. Oh, they'll maybe go through the top and not the bottom. Let's try that. Let's add a couple more on the top too. I just don't want the wire to show a whole lot. And I don't think it's going to because we're going to bunch this up. But we can't bunch it up too much because that bail has to be able to hang on there. Keeps wanting to turn upside down too, that bail does. Okay. So that's good. This keeps twisting too. That's part of the problem. Okay. That looks pretty good. So now we're going to add some chips over here. So I'm going to add a small chip here on the top. And another spacer. And then I'll do a couple chips down here on the bottom. And what you're, oh, that one's almost, but I don't know if I should use that one. He might come off. We'll see. He's drilled really close to the edge, but he might be okay. We're going to add a couple on the bottom and a spacer. And all we're trying to do is make these even on either side right now. So I'm going to add a spacer on the bottom. You know, even lengthwise on both sides is what I'm saying. Trying to say. And we'll do this chip up here. This chip up here. And a spacer. And another chip on the top. So there's our top. Down here, let's add a chip and 2 spacers, just for the heck of it. Like that. We'll add 1 spacer on the top And another chip on the top. 2 chips on the bottom. We'll go ahead and do this chip up here on the top, and then 2 spacers on the top, I think, and 1 on the bottom should do it. So there's 2 on the top and 1 on the bottom. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to kind of bunch this up, but we don't want to bunch it up so much that this doesn't hang right. So that looks about good. So I'm going to take my crimp bead on this side. Let me zoom in a little. And all I'm going to do is put this crimp bead on over both strands of my wire. So here I'm putting it on right here, letting it fall. Going to go over both strands of wire, and now we bead bugged our wire on both sides so that it is it's not going to slip and slide, so it's right where we need it to be. So all I want to do is make sure that this is kind of pushed down. This can still hang freely, like it's not bound up anyway, and it looks pretty good. And I'm just going to crimp this down now. Okay, so I'm not crimping like you crimp. I guess I could crimp it correctly. I'm just not, the reason I'm even questioning that is because I'm not crimping like to go, you know, through a loop or anything like that. I'm just crimping. But yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and I'm just going to crimp down and then turn this sideways and close it. And I hope these don't break because these are the little cheap crimp beads. I wasn't planning to crimp it correctly. Oh, it did okay. All right, sometimes they don't do well when you're when you try to fold them over. Okay, now I'm going to take my other side bead bug off. I don't have as much wire over here. Goodness, my little one's short. And I'm going to put my crimp bead on just like we did on the other side. Come on, get on there. This one's got a piece of metal in it or something. What's wrong with you? There we go. It's got like a little piece of metal inside. Let me see if it'll go over this strand. I may have to get a different one because of that, but you gonna go in there? Yeah, okay. So this side, same thing. I'm just gonna even it up. And again, I don't want this to be too tight to where my my bail is not going to hang right. So I just got to make sure that it's not too tight there. That looks pretty good. And your wire, you know, it's going to show a tad bit, but it's not going to really, I don't think it's going to, you know, be so much that it would be all that noticeable. You just want to make sure that your bail can hang right, that can hang right there. Okay, then I'm going to come in. I may need to come out just a little. There, that's probably good. And I'm going to crimp this one down. Let me make sure these wires aren't crossed. They're not. Okay, I'm going to crimp him. And we're going to use a bead cap on here, so it's going to kind of hide these crimps. I'm going to turn that 90 degrees. Hope that this little guy will close up good now, because again, these are the cheapo crimps. They don't always do well when you try to fold them over this part. Okay, these did good. Good job, little crimps. Okay, so here's what we've got. We've got our labradorite chips, our spacers, and our moon pendant. And it just kind of looks bunched up here, and that's what I wanted. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a bead cap. We're going to face this bead cap in towards the project and put it over both strands here. Whoops. That wire wants to go through the little holes on the side instead of the middle. There we go. And see how that comes in and kind of cups around that crimp bead. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm leaving those tail pieces on because if by chance something would come loose, I would be able to restring it probably. Okay, because I would have a little wire left. Let's go right through there. I'm putting one on facing away from the one I just did. So it's just a little decorative element. I'll show you here. See how they're facing away from each other? But the one bead cap is going to cover the crimp bead, so that'll be really nice. Okay. Now, I think I will use one of these blue beads, these drusies. I'll try to find the ones with a good druzy going in them. Right like that. And let's use this guy. He's got a little druzy in him. These are electroplated druzy beads. Just like that. That's good. Okay. Now I'm going to do another bead cap, just the normal way. And one more. And you can string this up however you like it. This is just what I'm doing. It's just a general guide. You can do whatever you want. So let's see, what do I want to do now? How about, I don't need a spacer yet. How about one of these clear rondelles just by itself? That's pretty. Another one over here. Okay. Yeah, I like that. All right. Now, let me zoom out a little. It's just too close. Okay, now let's see. I'm going to do a hex bead. English cut hex bead over both of them. Both sides, I mean. So I'm just stringing this up however I want to do it. I think I'll do a spacer now. Just however I think it looks good. Might do another electroplated bead with the bead caps on it. Really pretty. There's a druzy. When that druzy shows, it's just beautiful. Let's do this. I'm trying to pick the ones that have a druzy. They don't all have them, but if you can pull out the sparklier ones. Let's see if I see another one. I don't really see any more, so maybe it. What did I do there? Oh, I went through the, there we go. Okay. Okay, gonna add one of these small little faceted labradorite beads. These are hard to find the little holes in. And I think I will do another clear rondelle. Do I want to put the bead caps? I think I'll put the bead caps on this clear rondelle. Whoops. Just for variety's sake. Yeah, that's pretty. Okay. Same on this one over here. Perfect. Hex bead. And I'm not doing any pattern. I'm just stringing it up. I mean, I'm doing the same things on both sides. But I'm not doing a pattern as in, you know. I'm just doing it kind of randomly. Spacer bead on both sides now. And let's see. Let's do another of the little labradorite. I like the dark blue. I don't want it to be too overwhelming, so I'm trying to keep it a little bit spaced out. It's really pretty. I just don't want it to kind of take over because these labradorite beads are, the chips had a lot of flash in them. These others didn't really have a whole lot of flash in them. Okay. All right, let's see here. Do I want to do... Yeah, let's go ahead and do the druzy bead again. I'm going to do bead caps on it. And again on this side, same thing. I can hear Chris in there talking to his mom. His parents are 88 and they do not do well with technology, needless to say. Neither do I. I mean, I understand. I'm not making fun of him, but he keeps, his mom just cannot get her phone to work right, and so she keeps saying that she needs a new phone. It's the phone's fault. And Chris is like, you can't always need a new phone, Mom. The phone, this is a brand new phone. It's not the phone's fault. It's the user error. It's just kind of funny. They really struggle with the technology, which I understand. I struggle with it too. Okay, so let's do another hex bead. Whoops. It wanted to fly away, didn't it? But I can hear him in there talking to her about that phone. He just got her a new one. She's having trouble. Oh, okay. Clear bead with no bead caps this time. On there. All right. Spacer. These spacers are so pretty. They're just sparkly and kind of iridescent and beautiful. Spacers. Hex bead again. Like I said, I'm trying to kind of space out the dark blue. I want it on there. I just don't want it every other bead. These metallic dark blue, I mean. Let's do a spacer again. Okay, and then, let's see, we only have one of these guys left, so we can't use that. Let's go ahead, I guess, with these. Another one without bead caps. I'm going to keep the bead caps off. Here's one with well, it doesn't have a lot of druzy in it, but a little bit. Alrighty. We're going to do 2 of these small labradorite beads in a row. These little faceted ones. Tell you, it's a trick to find the holes in these little guys. They are tiny. They're pretty though. There we go. 2 of those guys. 2 on this side. I'm tempted to pull some more clear beads from my stash. I don't feel like we had a lot of beads this month. At first, I thought it was metal heavy. Then when I laid them all out, it looked like there was a lot of beads. But now that I'm making things, I'm finding that really there's not a heck of a lot of beads this month. I'm running out of things, so that's not really good. There were a lot of charms and connectors and stuff, and they're pretty. But I think I'm going to have to end up adding quite a bit in from my own stash this month for beads. Okay, so there's those. Let me see if I have any more of these clear rondelles. I'll be right back. Okay, so these are basically the same thing, just a size smaller. I had some bigger ones with an AB coating on them, but I didn't really want to pull an AB coating in because I haven't used AB on anything else down in here. So we're going to put these little clear rondelles on, and then I'm going to do bead caps and the druzy bead again. Like this. Am I zoomed out all the way? Yeah, I am. Just making sure, because I know it's hard to see everything I'm doing. I mean, the whole thing at once, but I am just stringing, so. Okay. So here's what we've got so far. It's looking pretty good. Let's see here. I really like the clear in here. It's really pretty. So I think I'm going to do another clear one, a small labradorite bead. Okay, another clear one, small labradorite bead. And let's do a hex bead. And a spacer on each side. And then another druzy bead with no bead caps. And then another spacer. So I'm kind of putting a spacer on either side of the druzy bead instead of bead caps. So what did I do over there? A spacer, druzy bead, and a spacer again. Okay. Then I think we will do a hex bead again. Okay, labradorite. And then let's do a clear bead. Clear bead. Okay, now at some point, I'm going to bead a few more beads on here because I don't think I'm quite ready to yet. But at some point, I need to hold this up and see if it's, you know, long enough. Because I don't want to do it too long. I think I'll do another labradorite, in fact. Now see, these beads that are getting toward the back here aren't really going to show a whole lot. Because, I mean, if you have short hair, you wear your hair up, they will, but I don't ever wear my hair up, so I'm going to do a druzy bead with bead caps. Unless I'm at the beach, and then I'm going to have this on, so it's not going to matter. Druzy bead with bead caps on both sides. Okay, so let's see. Let me hold this up. I'm going to bead bug both sides so I don't drop all my beads off, because that's real bad when that happens. When you go to hold it up to measure the size and you drop one in and all your beads come off, it's terrible. They're all over the floor. Okay, let's ever be safe than sorry. It's getting pretty close to where I want it to be. So I'm going to add probably 2 or 3 more beads on each side, and then we'll go ahead and finish it off. Let's see. Let's do a clear bead over here and a spacer. Do a clear bead and a spacer. Let's do one more, let's see, one more hex bead. Yeah, that's pretty. Another hex bead. And then I'm going to do like 2 spacers, or 3. Probably like 3 spacers on each end. Okay, yep, 3 there. And we'll do 3 over here. Okay. Now, we're going to add our toggle. It's pretty. Make sure everything's pushed down, that you don't have any exposed wire down there. And everything should be even. Push that down over there. Something's getting hung up over here. What's the problem? What is the problem over here? There we go. Okay. So push down, make sure everything's even. Now you don't want it to be stick straight. You want it to have a little movement, but you do not want any gaps in there. So, and we're going to grab our toggle, our wire guards. Let's move this out of the way, and our crimp tubes. Okay, let's zoom in. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our crimp tube and put it on our wire. Maybe I'm zoomed in a little much. And then our wire guard coming around on the other channel of the wire guard with your wire. So there's what you've got. You've got your crimp bead and your wire guard. We're going to put our toggle right on the wire and up into here. And then we're going to take this end and go back down through our crimp tube and a few of our beads if we can get them through. I just usually poke it down and see where it comes out. It's coming out right there. Grab it with your plier. Maybe. Okay. So pull this tight. Make sure you don't have anything loose, but also make sure that it hangs. You know, it's not so tight that things are, you don't want it poking weird, laying weird. So Just kind of give it a little room, but not too much. It's a fine balance there, okay? Now we're going to take this and we're going to crimp it in our back. Oh, I do like to take my wire guardian too and take my crimp pliers and kind of bend it in. I just like the way it looks a little bit better when it's bent in like that. We're going to lay this in the back tube or back divot of our crimpers and crimp down snugly. Turn it vertical and close that up. Okay, and there's your crimp on that side. Trim this up. Okay, same thing on the other side. Crimp tube, wire guardian, up and over, add on our bar. Okay, you want to come down through the crimp bead again and through a couple beads. I can still hear Chris in there going on about the phone. Oh man, it's funny. He's a techie guy, so he gets frustrated with us untechie people that can't understand technology. It's very frustrating for him to try to deal with all of us people that don't get it. So, but we're frustrated because he gets it and he doesn't understand why we don't get it. So there's like this level of frustration on everybody's part, but it's kind of funny. All right, there we go. Now we're just going to crimp this down. Turn it sideways. Close that up. And trim that off. And there we have it. It is pretty. Goodness gracious. So here's our beautiful necklace. Let me zoom out again. There we go. Oh, sorry. That was bad, wasn't it? That's what we get when I start messing with the camera. So here it is. I am going to put it on a form up here so you can see it, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here it is in the light box. Let's see. I'm trying to get a little extra light on it there. Whoops. Yeah, it turned out pretty, I think. I love the labradorite chips. They are beautiful. So there it is. If you're interested in subscribing, I do have the coupon code Wendy2, get you $2 off your first month's box or $2 off your first purchase in their store. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that. Just hit the subscribe button and ring the little bell and it will tell you when I upload videos because I'll be doing a lot more from this box and other boxes. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.